creepy and cool TikToks that will blow your mind. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
Oh my god, did you guys just see that? That's mad.
Oh my god, what's that?
It just changed colour.
Wait, look, there's someone else coming. Watch. Is that a Porsche?
That's unreal.
How did they do that?
Oh my god, it just changed again. What?
That's so cool. How about that, mate? Watch this.
People say it's chroma flare effects. You know, it's a pigment used in paint system primarily for automobiles. But I think this video is just a CGI. What do you think?
Because of Diddy, every celebrity in the world is on the phone with their lawyer right now. Now y'all know Diddy is being held and they not trying to let him go, y'all. And if you've been following me, you know exactly why they not gonna let him go. Because when the article came out, I said because of this article, Diddy will not be held. He will not get bond, and I like it. Now, before we get into him not getting no bond, let's just go over some of the things. 1,000 bottles of lubricant
Wow.
and baby oil is what feds found. I'm telling you right now, anybody that has 1,000 bottles of lube is guilty of whatever the fuck they say.
Agree.
Oh, they uncovered that Diddy's freak-offs was so crazy. The victims needed IV drips after it, of days of Diddy. They had a press conference even saying that they have evidence that Diddy was pressuring and threatening witnesses and giving them false narratives to say. This was in 2023. They going up back to 2028, but they got recent shit he did wrong. To everybody who was telling me that wasn't nothing about to happen to Diddy or whatever, I hope y'all just get off this app. I told you Diddy blew it, but look what he got to give up to have a hope to get out, and they ain't letting him. They know he a flight risk. $50 million bond.
Wow.
Co-signing from his mom's sister, got the brothers, the daughter, got the adult sons in it. Giving up him and his mama's house. Mama got to hit the streets. Diddy, see how you bring your mom and all that into this mess? But why they doing all this to Diddy? Because it is. Diddy's private jet goes off radar after being traced to Antigua amid agents' raids. He should have never did that, and I told y'all then. Other things to know, he's looking at up to life, 15 years to life. And even Diddy's lawyer know it ain't looking good, because he said Diddy gonna be fighting with all his might. Whatever that mean. I don't know how much might he got. He might not work.
Cat Williams somewhere laughing at those who said he was lying.
I am announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution. The indictment alleges that between at least 2008 and the present, Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. As alleged in the indictment, to carry out this conduct, Sean Combs led and participated in a racketeering conspiracy that used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice. As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines. Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs. And he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics, such as ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, which Combs distributed to the victims to keep them obedient and compliant. A year ago, Sean Combs stood in Times Square and was handed a key to New York City.
Wow.
Today, he's been indicted and will face justice in the Southern District of New York.
Look, man, it's not just Diddy. Did he needs to start spilling some names, some higher power Hollywood names, because they're all on it.
seized firearms and ammunition, including 3 defaced AR-15s and a large capacity drum magazine. They also seized evidence of the freak-offs, electronic devices that contain images and videos of the freak-offs with multiple victims. And they seized cases and cases of the kinds of personal lubricant and baby oil that Combs' staff allegedly used to stock hotel rooms for the freak-offs, more than 1,000 bottles altogether.
You want to know what the retirement age for women in China is? 50 years old. That's around 17 years younger than the retirement age in the US and the UK. And for men in China, they retire at only 60. And that hasn't changed since it was set in 1950, 74 years ago, until today. Starting on January the 1st, 2025, the retirement age for men will raise to 63, and for women it'll raise to between 55 and 58 depending on the job they work. And I mean, just to give you a perspective on why they're doing this, in the next 10 years, a staggering 300 million people between 50 and 60 will leave China's workforce. That's almost the equivalent to the entire population of the US waking up one day and saying, yeah, I'm not working.
Yeah, because they work since 6.
Mother whale in pain sought help from humans. After they removed the barnacles, she happily expressed her gratitude. A fisherman signaled for her to come closer and saw that she was covered in barnacles. He immediately understood her plea. These barnacles were deeply embedded in her flesh, causing great pain with each removal. The young man carefully removed them one by one. There were still a few left, so he signaled for her to come even closer to clean her back. The mother whale cooperated fully with the human's help. Finally, the young man joyfully told her that the cleaning was complete. The mother whale smiled happily, and with her family expressed her thanks, telling her children to remember these kind humans. She was reluctant to leave and escorted the fisherman back to shore. It was a beautiful reminder that a little kindness can make a world of...
It's really sweet, but I thought doing this was bad because the flesh and bleach will attract more parasites. What do you think? I read it somewhere, by the way. Ooh. The tiger is showing off. Tiger can jump, climb, and swim too. Gog and Magog, Return of King.
Now a migrant is dead after a shooting outside the Gage Park facility. Alderman Ray Lopez confirmed the 28-year-old man died from his injuries. Police say he was on the sidewalk when an unknown car pulled up and someone inside that car fired shots at the man, hitting him in the head. The alderman says the man was the intended target.
To all Venezuelans in Chicago, this is the warning. If you ain't on no bullshit, stay neutral. Somebody please translate. Stay neutral. If you know somebody that's in your building on bullshit, don't let them run in that building, and don't let nobody see them run in that building. Because once word get out that that's the building that they in, they gonna chop that bitch down. Whatever building, the abandoned building y'all occupying and all that shit, yeah, you better get your food and just stay in the house, because they come out doing some bullshit. Y'all gonna regret that. You're gonna really regret that. So, I don't speak Spanish, so somebody need to translate. I hope they got TikTok that translate, I guess. They can kind of make me seem like I'm speaking Spanish. But anyway, take this like a grain of salt if you like. But this ain't Colorado. This ain't Utah, this ain't none of them places. This is just like where you from. The only difference is y'all use a lot of handgun, old revolvers, and machetes and shit. We got switches.
Ooh.
We got switches. If you're not familiar with what a switch is, we will show you. We don't really be with all the telling and shit. But we will definitely show you what a switch is. So, again, somebody translate. Yeah. Make this known. This ain't like Colorado.
I think America is becoming united. You better translate.
What's your emergency?
Can't find my mom.
Oh.
It's okay, sweetheart. I'll help you. Can you tell me your name?
My name is Anna.
Hi, Anna. Do you know where you are right now? Are you at home?
I'm at home. My hair's back in the hairbrush. Can you help me? There.
I understand. We'll find your mom. I promise. Is your dad there?
I don't have a dad.
Oh, okay. Is there anybody else?
Just me and my kids.
Oh, okay. Well, just stay on the phone with me, okay?
Okay.
Somebody's gonna be there really soon. Maybe I can keep you company. What's your favorite color?
Purple.
Oh, I love purple.
I have a purple dress.
Oh, wow. I bet it's beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. They're almost there. Welcome. They're almost there.
The dispatcher voice tones changed when he heard a baby voice. Hope Donna is with someone safe.
This is a picture of Jimmy.
Jimmy?
Smile was still there, but not the twinkle in his eye. That was gone.
Ooh.
He's not the innocent little kid anymore. He's changing, all right. He's changing, and in this photo, he was changing to where he was he wore a mask, I want to say. It's like he wore a mask. And everybody, thought he was a good, nice boy, which I think afforded him the luxury to do even worse things because nobody was suspecting him in his charming self.
Hello, Dexter Morgan. Plasma lightning.
Donald, former owner of the Los Angeles Clippers who got banned for saying racist things, but it's what he said that's the interesting part. See, Donald had a problem. He got this one girlfriend, right? Her name is V. She records one of their conversation, and listen, he says, I love black people, but V, why I seen you taking a picture with a black person? V's like, you know who that black person was, right? It was none other than Magic Johnson. Donald said, yes, he rocks with Magic Johnson, but his problem was people saw this picture and called him, and that it wasn't a good look for him. She says, so you don't like black people? He loses it and tells her she can be around black people all she wants. She could even watch Netflix with them, but just not in public. She says, I'm part black, right? He says, oh. He says, no. Can you remove it? She says, remove my black? Let's just change the subject. They change the subject. He wakes up the next morning and the tape's on TMZ. Now, here's where it starts to get wicked. See, this was during a year when the Los Angeles Clippers were finally really good. And they were about to play in a much anticipated game against the Golden State Warriors. The world was watching. They walk out and they cover the Clippers logo. The NBA said, ooh, that's not good. But they did the protest and okay, good. Then boom, the Miami Heat, and most importantly, the best player in the world, LeBron James, flips their jerseys inside out. The NBA goes, oh, we got to do something. Now, to be fair, Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, was always going to do something, but no one knew what. Donald was still the owner of a team. You can't just take his team away from him. Adam, the commissioner, said, we're taking his team away from him. The commissioner gives Donald a lifetime ban from the NBA and forces him to sell the team. Donald said, I ain't selling no team. All the other owners got to get it approved. First of all, Adam said everybody approved it.
What?
So, but can you prove that I'm racist? They said, well, here are the court documents of you being sued for being racist. At one point, you said you wanted players who were poor, black, and from the South, and you wanted them to be coached by a white head coach. What that look like to you, Donald? Donald said, that don't look good. Donald Sterling's wife came in. He's married, by the way. She said, we can stop all this talking. I just sold the team. Donald said, ooh, the ops is here. Just because she's my wife and I gave her part ownership of the team. Can she do that? His lawyer said, yeah. Donald said, well, can we appeal the decision? The lawyer said, yeah. He takes the appeal and the lawyer never files it. So Donald claims that the NBA scammed him out of his team. He tries to sue them. A judge basically calls him an idiot, and the rest is history.
Did you eat that cat?
Oh, man.
She had cat hair on her mouth. Someone got rubber gloves. She's covered in
Oh, my
blood.
goodness.
On Friday, August 16th, a 911 call was made by a distressed cousin after watching her relative's disturbing live stream on Facebook.
911, where's your emergency?
I just was watching a live video of my cousin on Facebook. She killed a cat and is eating it.
Cops instantly attended the scene to find 27-year-old Alexis Talia Farrell kneeling
Oh, my
before a
goodness.
deceased cat in front of her neighbors.
What did you do? Why'd you kill the cat? Stand up.
Alexis Talia Farrell has been put into custody, where an arraignment of a $100,000 initial bond was set.
Is this Springfield? And Trump was telling the truth?
This is wild. So the FBI are now saying that it appears that this was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, which would make it the second time in only 3 months. Crazy. In the press conference, authorities say that a man was hiding in the bushes holding a long-range rifle with a scope attached, pointed in Trump's direction. He also had 2 backpacks hung on the fence with ceramic tiles, which they believe could have been intended to make use for makeshift body armor, and a GoPro, which they believe that he intended to record the whole situation with. Part I want to know more about. They say he was only 500 yards away from Trump before Secret Service agents saw the scope in the bushes and opened fire. Wild.
How does the Secret Service see the muzzle of a gun from behind a fence through the bushes, yet couldn't see a guy on a roof next to the stage? Mind-blowing.
When people insult you, notice what they criticize. If they attack your intelligence, it's because you make them feel inferior. If they point out flaws in your appearances, it's often driven by jealousy. And if they question your morals, it means your integrity makes them feel inadequate.
Ooh. Accusations are confessions.
What was the biggest shock for either of you guys when you got to the industry?
Half the industry is broke.
Mm.
And that shocked me.
That's
I
a
would
good
see,
one.
I would
That's a good
see
one.
celebrities. I would be around celebrities, rappers. No offense, but a bunch of them that's like wearing all the big jewelry or on Instagram. It's all a facade, and that's when it was like for me. I was like, wow, okay, I can breathe.
Yeah,
because I don't need to keep up with the Joneses.
Right.
Because
right.
y'all ain't even keeping up with the Joneses yourself.
It's rentals.
It's rentals.
It's rentals. It's like Miami. Or like
honest,
whenever they rent the cars and drive around or whatever, and then like return them.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Lambos.
Yeah. All
it's
it's all the Lambos. Yeah.
Or even with jewelry, I think I didn't realize a lot of that was that like, oh, they buy these pieces to wear in a music video or at a carpet, and then they take them back to the jeweler. These are like their actual pieces when it comes to rap and hip hop culture.
That's very true. Because even when I worked in hip hop, it was interesting just to see and hear stuff. Like, and again, not trying to put anybody on blast or whatever. I could name people if you wanted me to, but correct. Like, you never know. But that's the thing is, like, at the end of the day, you do not know. And that's why you cannot look at somebody and be envious over any of this.
MTV Cribs is a good example of this.
Dementia. Basically a bunch of mucus built up on the brain. Anybody that have dementia that come to us, the first thing I'm going to do is put you on an all fruit diet high in berries. The reason why I'm going to choose berries, they bring a bunch of oxygens to the actual brain cell. Berries are high in something called anthocyanins. Anthocyanins actually have a way of alleviating the body from all these metals that's not supposed to be in the brain. It's high oxygen, which means it brings a lot of blood flow. Now you have to relieve all the volumetric pressure though that's from the brain, and the only way to relieve the brain of that pressure is you have to relieve the gut. So you gotta cleanse the gut. You cannot cleanse the brain without cleansing the gut.
Dr. Sebi used to talk about all sickness just being mucus build up.
Just one like this.
No Coca-Cola.
Wait, that's all Ronaldo did?
Water. That's all he did.
Yeah.
He didn't do
10
nothing.
seconds.
It's like less than 10 seconds, right?
He looked at it. He did.
Just moved it, right? Okay, Ronaldo wiped $4 billion off of Coca-Cola's market value. So the power of
This got to be
Ronaldo.
Yeah.
How powerful is he?
When this shit is real?
Ooh.
There's no way.
Coca-Cola.
What the fuck? Now Ronaldo's the GOAT.
I think he was trying to tell the world to live healthy. What do you think?
This woman received $2.1 million after being charged with stealing $48 worth of groceries at Walmart. This is Leslie Nurse from Sims, Alabama. One day, she went to a Walmart store to buy some groceries and used the self-checkout to scan her items. Confident she had scanned everything, she paid the amount shown on the screen and headed out of the store. But before she could leave, security stopped her, accusing her of not scanning all the items in her cart. Leslie tried to explain that it must have been an error. She offered to pay for the unscanned items worth $48, but the store's security team refused to listen and called the police, leading to her arrest on charges of shoplifting. A few days later, Leslie received a letter from a law firm representing Walmart, demanding that she pay $200 as a civil penalty. When she refused to pay, the legal threats and pressure only increased, so she decided to file a lawsuit against Walmart, accusing them of intentional infliction of emotional distress and false imprisonment. During the court proceedings, it was discovered that the self-checkout machine had malfunctioned, failing to register some of the items Leslie had scanned. After a 3-year legal battle, the court ruled in Leslie's favor, awarding her $2.1 million in damages.
It's her responsibility to check if all items are scanned.
This is the internet's most iconic and beloved baby hippo right now, but people are now abusing him. His name is Mudang, which roughly translates to bouncy pig. And on TikTok, Mudang has become extremely famous, being seen by hundreds of millions of people. So much so that people have begun flocking to the zoo in Thailand to see him in person. Problem is, when the hordes arrive, he's often asleep because baby hippos need to sleep the majority of the day. So what do people decide to do? Well, videos of them pouring water on him or throwing things at him like shellfish to wake him up have started surfacing online. All because they want to see him move like he does in the videos. I mean, getting slapped by a monkey is one thing, but getting abused by humans is another. The zoo has seen these videos and have told people to stop throwing things at him. So how about we all just listen and not ruin the best thing on social media right now? Justice for Mudang.
We are the cruelest animals.
For decades, gang violence suffocated nearly all aspects of life in El Salvador. The most notorious gangs, MS-13 and 18th Street. They proudly mark their territory and themselves, extorting, raping, and killing tens of thousands here. In 2015, El Salvador was labeled the murder capital of the world. 9 years later,
we have been able to control the bad guys.
Yep.
But how did El Salvador go from the deadliest country in the world to among the safest in Latin America and within just a few years?
Sí, protesto.
Most point to the country's president, Nayib Bukele. In 2019, he came into office. His actions, controversial, consolidating power, tightening his grip of control, and essentially eliminating any political opposition. Under a state of emergency, more than 81,000 people arrested. Bukele even boasting that El Salvador now has the highest incarceration rate in the world. The government says the most hardened gang members end up here, at the Terrorism Confinement Center. Government images from inside have been widely shared on social media, but most of those arrested are actually kept in facilities like these, a side of El Salvador's prison system few have seen.
And you can actually see just over where we are, there's row after row after row.
This facility alone holds roughly 30,000 inmates. Prisoners are put to work, tasked with rehabilitating themselves and their country.
You can even see there's a police vehicle that they're working on.
We tour another facility where inmates are making government uniforms and building desks for local schools. El Salvador's transformation has its skeptics and doubters, but most everyone we find here,
to be able to,
for now at least, devout believers, hopeful this change will last.
Gracias. Buena la orden.
God protects Bukele. He's one of the greatest statesmen of modern times.
La pasta più bella del mondo, spaghetti al pomodoro.
Pomodoro.
Vedete, bellissimo. Teresa, attacca.
Opla. Senti che muschietti. Un po' di sale. Su che pronto. Guardate, tutti intere. Guardate, guardate che belli spaghetti. Dai Teresa, andiamo. Andiamo.
Felice più in alto del
sole. Mangiate che buona.
Mamma mia.
And we've seen this before. We would have the money and offer to buy a building.
LA, we saw that with South Central.
Come on, my brother, with LA over there, I believe it was
Gross.
over off of Martin Luther King and Crenshaw.
Yep.
Known as the Black Mall. Right. Baldwin Hills Mall.
Yep.
Group of black folk had the money. They didn't ask for a discount or nothing. Had the money that was put up there to buy it.
That's right.
They wouldn't let them buy it. Why would you let us buy it?
It's power.
Our money is the same as your money.
Yeah.
They're like, no, we know what you're going to do.
That's right.
Which is free your people, provide jobs, economic influence, and build and resurrect that community. No, we can't have that. Why? Because we benefit off of you being in the enslaved position that you're in. So we can't do that. So they sold it to a Jewish community. And I found that out because one of the people were bragging to me in a meeting about it, a Jewish man. And I'm saying this specifically for those of you in that community who you know about them a part of your community, not the racist ones, because some of you are not, but you know which ones I'm talking about. Like we got some people in our community who are some a-holes. You got some too. That's right. And he was bragging to me. So, you know that mall off of, bro, he was recently, you know, the mall out of Crenshaw and King.
Hey, that's a rich flex, huh?
No, bro.
Yeah.
The man walked up to the table.
Wow.
And he introduced me to him. I looked at him. He looked down at me. He shook his friend's hand who I was eating this meal with. And he walked away, and I was so infuriated because I was thinking, wow, the black mall is not owned by black people.
Come on now.
But we had the money to do it. We didn't beg. We didn't ask for a discount. We didn't try to, you know, get it on the low. We did it the way that you call the right way. We did it according to your rules, but we couldn't get it. So that means your system is never interested in us having it, even if we go about it the way you tell us to go about it. Just be a good old boy, have the credit right, have the money right, have the capital up, and we can let you do that. It's not like that all the time. It's not.
Best way for you to fix that is to send lawyers to buy the property for you while you remain in disguise.
The UK got a finance curse? Is it a trick question? Because the UK doesn't have finance. The City of London has, and it's not part of the UK.
Good answer. Good answer. It's international, he's right.
The City of London is outside the United Kingdom. Do you know that? It's really shocking. And therefore, it's also not part of the EU. Although it couldn't be part of the EU because you have to have democratic elections, and the City of London doesn't, right? It's the banks that have the votes, right?
Right.
Per staff, you know, the voting system.
I never knew that. How do you start unpicking this puzzle? I never knew that. That's a very useful piece of information.
And of course, it is not part of the UK because the Queen is not allowed to enter without permission. She's not the sovereign. Therefore, it's not part of the UK. You know, and of course, that's since 1688.
I have to make a note.
Since the foreign invasion.
What the did I just learn on TikTok? Know that the City of London is technically not part of the United Kingdom? Did you know that the king needs permission to go to the UK? Did you know that the banks are the ones that pick who the mayor is?
The same with Washington, D.C. and Rome.
A popular streamer who recently moved to Canada is facing backlash over a controversial video.
Why are there so many Indians in Canada? What am I missing here? Can somebody please explain why the fuck there's so many Indians here?
Aiden Ross, who's originally from the US and is known for his video game streaming and was also recently banned from Twitch, posted a video asking why there are so many Indians in Canada, which has sparked outrage online with his viewers calling him racist and many even agreeing with him.
I mean, most Canadians are asking the same thing.
Read one of the chats recently of some of the offenders of what they were saying. This is also filtered, so it can be a little bit more appropriate for today. One of the offenders in the chat asked what the others were into. Next man replied, he was mainly into 5 to 9-year-olds. Another said he was 60 and a very violent man, and no isn't an option for him. One of the offenders then said he has 20 terabytes of baby rape videos, and if they DM him, he would give them to him for a good price. Another offender confirmed and said he would show the others how to abuse his own kids and get away with it.
What?
Then another replied he has a daughter that he would love to share. Then the next replied, when asked if his wife knew about his abuse, the man said, heck no, it's our little secret. Though I am on the lookout for others, as she is getting old now. Next responded, how old is she? The offender said, 8.
Ugh.
That's what we're talking about here today. That's why it's so important. That's why we have to be urgent for every single one of these boys and girls.
The media is guilty of not bringing these stories to light. Thank you, Team Thibault, for caring about the children.
My photo off your voodoo altars, you're embarrassing yourself. Can't you see, after all this time, it's done nothing but elevate me and my spirit. Return to sender, back to you and the practitioner. You have already lost this war. As long as my details are on your premises, you will find nothing but failure and misfortune. You cannot destroy someone that God wants to survive. You cannot kill someone that God wants alive, and that is evidential.
Psalm 91, heavy protection, amen.
I'm going to summon right now UFOs, and they're going to arrive and you're going to see them. I'm going to bring the request for the UFOs to show up, and how I do it is I telepathically tell them to come down, and I tell them to show up. In order for yourself to do it, you got to have a clean mind. You can't be trying to trick them because they know everything that you're doing. So if you have a clean heart, clean mind, and request for them to show up so you can kind of communicate with them, and that's how you do it. So I look up into the sky at a clear blue area, and I project my eyes deep in the sky, and at the same time I tell them to come down. We are all like super people, except we haven't been taught that, you know. But if you do it too much, it can harm you. So I suggest you do it only like 5 minutes. I do it but a few minutes. I'm calling them now.
Oh,
and I'm telling them to come down.
Just kidding.
And to do amazing, intelligent things, so people will know who they are. And when they do that, the people are all going to go, ah, because they're not going to believe it.
I have it on video.
No way.
It's spinning super fast. It's right above the trees.
It's demon, folks. It's a balloon.
Now, one of the crazy things about getting older is how it just creeps up on you.
Yep.
Like through friends or through family or work, you'll meet somebody and they'll introduce you to this person, and then you find out that this person is a year younger than you. And you're thinking to yourself, you're looking at this person and you're like, how is dude my age but looks 10 years older than me? Why are all these old people my age? And then you realize, oh, I'm one of them. them.
Yep. I always ask my friend if we look like them. Bam, I'm 44. Next month, I'll be 45.
Isn't it true that you were taking Laura Afferson's remains, which included her torso and her head and parts of her leg, and throwing them over the side of the boat?
Again, I never saw anything that was going on behind me.
July 24th, 2011,
a partial female torso was found.
Ooh.
It was found in the banks of the creek.
Good Lord.
The arms, hips, and the head had been cut off,
Oh,
and the
my
search teams
goodness.
could not find them. The divers weren't just going down with their goggles and swimming around looking for clues. I mean, they were literally just using their hands, feeling around because they couldn't see anything. So hours and hours went by. And then, all of a sudden, one of the divers noticed a very shiny, shimmery spot on the top of the water, which trained divers know that that's a sign that there is something decomposing there. So the diver grabbed a sample of that water, took it over to some scent dogs, and they alerted for human remains. And get this, when they tried to lift the head out of the water, all of the facial muscles and the skin began to just slide off the bone.
Ugh.
The body was breaking down in front of their very eyes. Still, dental records were eventually able to show that this was in fact Laura's skull. Even though some of the enamel on her teeth had been stripped off by acid, they were able to make a match.
There was a guy at church who was on, I can't remember what he regularly would use, but he would use that to access the spiritual realm illegally. They brought me into this meeting with him, and he started describing me a spiritual being that he would encounter being on these things. And he said, have you seen that? And I looked behind him, and then there was that spiritual being that was not of the Lord. And that spiritual being was freaking out because I could see him. And so I told him, I said, I'm telling you right now, I said, you're opening yourself up illegally to the spiritual world using these things. I said, the way that we access the spiritual world correctly has to be through the spirit. But psychedelics and all that stuff is coming through the back door, and you open yourself up to far greater problems that way. You end up getting a spiritual being you have no business talking to because spiritual beings are nosy. Now, demons are silly. Other spiritual beings, they're nosy. They want to know what you know, especially if you're sons, because you know things about God that they may not know they get from watching.
If we could actually see everything going on around us 24/7, I'm not sure our weak human's mind could handle it.
Heard of the dancing plague?
No.
Listen to this. It happened in 1518 in a town in France.
France?
France.
Oh, really? France.
This lady woke up one day. She was just dancing in the middle of the street. But there's no music. She's just dancing. And she literally couldn't stop dancing.
Oh my gosh. She was on like convulsions?
And the only time she stopped dancing was when she was so physically exhausted that she would collapse. And as soon as she would wake back up or gain consciousness, she would start dancing again.
Oh my gosh.
And her feet were like starting to get bloody and stuff because she couldn't stop.
What is happening?
Listen. And then other people started dancing.
Yeah.
And it turned into like over 400 people just started dancing.
Oh
no. For a month.
What? This is real?
This is 15 people a day were dying from it.
Oh no. This is crazy.
They couldn't figure out but there's people literally dancing from it started in July and it didn't stop until August.
This cannot be real.
It's very real. People were dancing and screaming in pain because they couldn't stop.
That is the most horrifying sight.
It was a psychosomatic something.
And it didn't cross anybody's mind to tie them down until they figure it out.
What would happen if you consume apple cider vinegar every single day for 14 days? Make sure you dilute 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in a glass of water, and I would consume it right before your meal. Apple cider vinegar is going to help with bloating, indigestion, acid reflux, stabilize your blood sugar, prevent a fatty liver, lose weight, and it's going to help you sleep. Apple cider vinegar will increase your energy. Apple cider vinegar helps the microbiome in your gut, and it prevents gallstones.
It tastes so bad though.
I knew the house was haunted. All I had to do was walk in it.
Oof.
We just had to find the source.
My mother did an inordinate amount of historical research on the house. And the reason that she did was not only was she fascinated with the fact that we were living in a 1736 house, but she also knew by the time that we started to see multiple spirits in the house, she wanted to know who it was. And that's when we learned about Bathsheba Sherman.
We wanted to get deeper into this case, yes. We definitely we went up there so many times to try to find the help, to really try to find it for them. But it was very sad.
I told her about some of the things that had happened. I woke to the smell of smoke in my bedroom. And then there was Bathsheba. This is when she put the curse on me. What she said at the last of it is, next time we meet, ye two be dead.
the spirit that was most threatening to her liked to manifest with fire.
Oh.
That house, we had much happiness and many happy times together, but we had horrible things happen too. Logic tells you that something that is immaterial, that is a shadow, that's a mist, that's a wind that passes by you and lifts your hair, cannot really hurt you. I still feel threatened. I feel threatened.
Ooh.
That I'll even be willing to see the film. In fact, I doubt very much that I will be willing to see the film.
Oh,
For
my
the same
goodness.
reason I'm unwilling to ever go back to the house, especially to ever go inside the house again. I never would.
Okay, don't watch it, folks.
Okay, breaking news. Tragically, it has just been confirmed that US rapper Fat Man Scoop has died after collapsing on stage. Videos from the concert show him performing with his shirt off before he goes behind the DJ booth. He screams, "Hamden, make some noise," but then you can see something to start to go wrong, and he begins panting into the microphone. He continues to try and hype up the crowd, but then begins to slur his words before bending over, and then as soon as he finishes speaking, he collapses onto the ground, dropping the microphone. At one point, you can see some people administering CPR. When the ambulance arrived, they wheeled him out on a stretcher and they rushed him to hospital, but unfortunately, this morning, the 53-year-old's passing was announced by his manager on social media. As of right now, we do not know the cause of death. Fat Man Scoop, if you didn't know, was a 3-time Grammy Award-winning rapper, a podcast host, and a reality TV cast member. R.I.P. Fat Man Scoop.
Sending love and prayers to Fat Man Scoop and his last one. Rest in peace.
This is the moment thieves smashed into a gallery to steal Banksy's iconic Girl with Balloon, worth $1.4 million. The thing is, there's a big problem with stealing Banksy's. In early August, a couple of opportunists clambered up a ladder to pinch a satellite dish that had been painted with a design of a howling wolf. And last Christmas, a stop sign decorated with drones was stolen within minutes of Banksy posting it on Instagram. The thing is, to sell a Banksy on the open market, it has to be authenticated by his pest control organization. Pieces stolen from public spaces don't have that authentication, so are essentially worthless. Girl with Balloon has been verified, but even then, it's not as easy as flogging it to some shady multimillionaire. Even if you've got a fence, someone in the criminal underworld who can connect you to a buyer, you're not guaranteed a decent payday. Julian Radcliffe, chairman of the Art Loss Register, told CNN that stolen artworks usually change hands at a fraction of their true price, for 1% or less of their market value. The most common way thieves make a profit is by selling the real pieces as high-quality replicas. The FBI actually believe that many missing masterpieces are in the collections of buyers who believe them to be fakes. But again, selling them this way, thieves will make far less than what the artworks are really worth. In this case, Girl with Balloon has been recovered, but those other 2 Banksy pieces are still missing.
It doesn't matter. Banksy is just gentrified graffiti.
This is wild. In France, they have successfully trained crows to help clean up their parks by picking up the littered cigarette butts. The way that it works is a simple rewards program. They've trained the crows to find the discarded and littered cigarette butts, pick them up, and fly them to a specific trash can where once they drop the butts in, a reward for the crow is dispensed, usually nuts or seeds. These crows work 4 days a week and have been doing so since 2018, which makes this project pretty successful. By employing crows, you can help reduce the manual cleanup costs and pollution. This is being done in Sweden as well right now, and they believe that if they did it on a larger scale, they could reduce manual cleanup costs by 75%. Crows are the perfect bird for the job because they're highly intelligent and they have amazing memory and are often compared more to dolphins. Not only that, but they have facial recognition, which allows them to memorize human faces for years and years on end. So if you're in France or Sweden and you are a big litterer of cigarette butts, I would probably stop right now because the whole crow workforce probably knows who you are. In the United States, it is currently illegal to domesticate or train crows without a specific license, but I'm wondering if we should start employing them to clean up the trash at our beaches and parks. As always, I want to hear what you think about all of this down below.
Train the crows to warn people who litter. Took out 2 stoners with 1 bird.
Have you heard of that new company called Friend? It's a startup company, or not startup, they're pre-selling this product. And the owner of it, he went out...
1.5 million for the website.
For the website,
Wow.
friend.com. And what it is it's a necklace, but it's AI. And it's called Friend because you talk to it and interact with it and it texts you. So like you'd be like, what do you think about this? And it'd be like, I don't know how I feel about that. You can like change the settings to be like more like empathetic or like gossipy
or flirty.
Or bros, like where like they just like, you know, they make fun back and forth. Like during the commercial, like it's like a guy loses at a game and it basically is like, hey, you know, you suck, basically. Like just like kind of like just playing, being friendly and stuff. But it's like really strange because you give it access to your camera, and so it'll say, hey, how's that Subway sandwich going?
So it's observing your life. You're literally giving
Everything.
access to everything.
Inside jokes. I mean, you're wearing it around work, and imagine what it's picking up. Like, it's a crazy thing. It's her just around your neck now. I mean, like, obviously this is where we're headed.
Imploding as a society.
Well, it's only $100.
The book The Circle is all about this. It's scary and very realistic.
And this is where all the dead bodies were. In the 1800s, slaves were locked in this room, awaiting auction in unhuman conditions. Windows were kept small to prevent escape. There were around 70 women and children in this room. The hole in the middle was used as a toilet, and out of sheer desperation, the slaves drank the water that was full of bodies, blood, urine, feces, and water from flooding conditions. Most died of diseases and starvation.
This guy is saying it with such a smile.
Yo, I seriously feel like something really big is coming. I know I show you guys all the stuff that's going on and everything else, but I had this really weird feeling. Did y'all see her dress at this VMA or whatever it is? Tell me why she has UFOs on the dress, even in her tour. And I'm sure you're asking yourself, why is this such a big thing? Every major event this year has had aliens, UFOs, or greys. We just had the Olympics and we had all these greys performing behind this mantis, and mantis again was known by the ancient tribes to always show up with greys, and I mean everywhere. And we had the aliens at the Super Bowl. Don't worry, it's my video. It's like every single major entertainment source is all showing us UFOs and aliens. Why? What happens when this kind of stuff is usually shown over and over again? Think about it. I wonder, I feel like they're kind of trying to show us, you know, the future. Oh, and I forgot the Miami incident right when the year started. And then right after the eclipse, we had these black shadows flying by the sun. Yeah, so sorry, but I don't think this is an accident. Either anything else that we've seen majorly entertainment-wise.
Look, aliens are fallen angels and demons.
Look what leaves this lady when she was baptized.
Ooh.
Stranger things have happened. Jesus cast out a devil in the Bible, and then it went into a herd of pigs and ran off a mountain.
Ooh. What do you think about that, folks?
From my basement to the biggest cities in the world in just a year. But was it easy? Hell no. We hit rock bottom a few years ago when we were trending in Pakistan for all the wrong reasons. People said our brand was too expensive and it was never going to work. That took a toll on me and my mental health because I started to believe it and I wanted to quit. I spoke to an old friend who showed me what this brand was to me and the kind of efforts I had put in to take it to where it was. That's when I realized that this is it and there's only going up from here. I had to be there for my team and we all had to believe in what we started. Guess that's what got us where we are now.
I get the hype, but way too expensive.
The Terror.
On Netflix, right?
The Terror is based off this expedition called the Franklin Expedition, and it took 150 years to figure out what exactly happened to him. They set out in 1845 to find a northwest passage over Canada, and then they disappeared. But there's two ships. The crew consisted of 134 men, and the ice was starting to get really thick, and so they got stuck in this one channel for a winter. It's like, no big deal. We're prepared for this, so we'll just wait it out. Summer came. Ice did not not melt, and so they were stuck for 2 years.
One spot for
spot.
2 years?
They said that the ice just like forms up the boat. Like it's just more and more ice. They later found out the cans of food that they were eating from were riddled with lead.
Yeah,
So
they're
they are
made out of
all
lead.
getting lead poisoning.
Like you get sick, but you also get kooky.
So it wasn't until 150 years later they saw a mass grave of 30 men, and they had all been cannibalized.
Oh, knew it.
They tested their hair, lead poisoning, and they
nightmare.
even found the ship in 2014.
No way!
And they said both ships were like perfectly preserved because they were like under the ice and stuff.
Wow. I need to check that out.
Why Filipinos are brown? Filipinos have a naturally beautiful brown skin tone due to a mix of genetic factors influenced by the country's tropical climate and geography.
Tofu.
The Philippines, part of Southeast Asia, has people who evolved darker skin as a form of protection against the sun's intense UV radiation. Melanin, the pigment responsible for skin color, helps protect against sun damage. But it's not just about science. Filipinos are also known for their stunning looks. Their unique combination of features, from radiant brown skin to charming smiles, makes them naturally handsome and beautiful, admired worldwide for their warmth and appearance.
Hey, Philippines, my brother and sister.
Just looks up at me, and then he just starts bawling.
I want you to paint me out the picture where you're like, okay, like I'm gonna speak to my dad. What did you feel like standing before the man who should have raised you, and the only thing you want to raise is your hands on him?
After Pastor explained that being right makes you miserable, he asked me, don't you want to be happy? Don't you want to live peacefully? This is one of the steps that you do have to take. And he said, Johnny, don't add any of your thoughts to what I'm saying. Because every time you added your thoughts, let's go rob somebody, I'm going to make money, you ended up miserable. Prior to that, he also showed me Genesis 6:5. He's like, all of our thoughts are only evil continually. But Johnny, do you really think all your thoughts are evil? And I was like, no. You have thoughts that you love your homies, you'll die for people, etc. Those are good thoughts. But then he said, read the first 3 words of that verse, King James Version, and God saw. When I see something versus when God sees something, completely different. He's saying, Johnny, your thoughts, they trick you. Satan is a con man. He'll lay something into your brain that is good, but only to con you. So that really put it in perspective. Like, you know what? I don't know this guy, but clearly he's speaking directly to my soul. When I seen that, I was like, okay, like, let me just follow. And so fast forward, I end up calling my dad. I actually tried to cancel on him. He got kind of mad. And so I called my pastor right away, and he's like, Johnny, come to the church. Let's talk.
What made you want to cancel?
I had all these thoughts. I was like, you're stupid.
Oh, you were depending on your thoughts that he
Again.
told you to avoid.
Right. I was like, you're dumb. And then so pastor comes and he's like, Johnny, it's okay, but you have to think deeply about your thoughts too. I said, think about my thoughts. What are you talking about? He said, because think about it. Every single time you did, were you like, I shouldn't be doing this? No, you're like, let's go, let's party. But it's weird, right? And I'm like, what do you mean? It's weird that you have these thoughts of apologizing to your father and something is telling you, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And that's, I got goosebumps.
Deep.
Yeah, and that's when I was like,
Where was
oh
those
my
thoughts
God.
during the in the jail and the robbing?
All that.
Wow.
So he's like, it's Satan trying to stop you and block you from your blessings.
Amen.
So I was like, let's meet up. I'll pay for the food, you know, blah, blah, blah. He's like, okay, cool. So we meet up and he's just fidgeting. I remember this vividly. He's doing this and he's like, and he's sighing. So I sat down, we're eating Vietnamese noodle soup, pho. I'm staring at the chopsticks, you know, he's staring like at the wall, you know, and it's just weird. So I say, sorry that I was a bad son. I'm sorry that I was a gang member and I wasn't there for you. My dad just looks up at me and then he just starts bawling.
Ooh.
Just bawling his eyes out. Sorry.
Oh, please take your time, bro. What a beautiful moment, bro.
Yeah, I was really shocked. So I remember him just crying. And he's like, you know, still has his hands clasped and he's like crying and he's like, no, son. He's like, I'm sorry. You know, he's like, I'm truly sorry for being a bad father. I'm truly sorry. He said, I couldn't stop drinking. I wanted to, but I couldn't. And I just remember like my body just getting up and like hugging him. And it was like 20 some odd years of pain that was really gone. Yeah, when I think about that, I was so thankful. I told him, I remember hugging him. I said, I love you. And And he just looked at me like, what the hell? How can you love me? And that's when all of Romans 7 came to my heart truly. And I was like, wow, he didn't know. My dad really didn't want to be this way. He knew that he was messing up, but he had no control over himself. Like, I could finally see it. So he himself, actually, I didn't even have to preach to him, and goes, I want to talk to this pastor. Like, who is this guy that changed my gang member's son? He went to my pastor. My pastor preached the same thing. My dad cried too. I found out through my pastor that my dad had actually killed somebody at the age of 19, and that's what he was drinking. So the whole time I was thinking, man, I want to this dude.
He was himself.
Yeah. And I was like, dang, I didn't know.
And by the way, bro, you did your job. Your bloodline was in chains, and you're the one that stepped up and brought the Lord into your life. And then your fruits were so heavenly that even your father wanted to sit at the table with you. Every knee shall fall, willing or non-willing. And because of you, sir, you, your father, your mother are willingly going to walk into that kingdom.
Amen.
So please don't ever hold any of that weight on you, man. Please don't.
Johnny Cheng is one of those people who, when I listen to his testimony and see the fruit, I have no choice but to believe. From the fruit you shall know them. If you know, you know.
It'll be too late for some of you, but for those of you who haven't, do not go and watch this movie. Deadpool and Wolverine have just made over $1 billion and have broke many different records in the movie world. Why? Because the evil one saw something he liked in that movie and pushed it out to the masses. So what could be so bad that people would walk out after the first 20 minutes? And many Christians are now saying they will forever boycott the Marvel movies. This is what was so bad. I am Marvel Jesus. And then notice this, that big hill of skulls is no accident. Jesus Christ, the location where he died on the cross was called Golgotha, and that can be translated to mean the place of the skull. My dear friend, wake up. There is an agenda against the Son of God, and you need to know that Marvel Jesus will not save you. The only Jesus who will save you is the true Son of God who died on that cross for you. In 1,000,000 years' time, Wolverine Marvel will be forgotten, but Jesus Christ will still be sitting on the throne, and that is why you should take sides with him and not some silly little comic book. If you agree with this message and you want to hear more about Jesus when you open this app, please do subscribe.
Marvel is now dead to me. My last was Endgame. After Endgame, they just kept on making crabs.
A lot of people think they need to be eating antioxidants. You can get them from grounding. You can get them from sunlight. You can get them from ocean air. It's all in nature. Everything we need is in nature. We don't need it to come out of a plastic bottle off Amazon.
Wow.
Ever wondered how cataract surgery can restore your vision? Let's break it down. A cataract is when the lens in your eye becomes cloudy, causing blurry vision. Cataract surgery is a quick and painless way to remove that cloudy lens and replace it with a clear artificial one. The procedure starts with the eye being numbed using special eye drops. Once numb, your doctor will make a tiny incision on the side of your cornea, the clear front part of your eye. Next, a probe is inserted into the eye. Using ultrasound energy, the doctor carefully breaks up the cloudy lens into tiny pieces. These pieces are then suctioned out through the same incision. This part is quick, lasting just a few minutes. Now it's time for the new lens. A foldable artificial lens is gently inserted into the eye through the same small incision. Once inside, the lens unfolds into place, perfectly positioned to help you see clearly again. After the lens is in place, the incision usually heals on its own without stitches. A protective shield is placed over your eye to keep it safe as it heals, and you're done.
Scary and amazing at the same time.
Breaking news, after this man goes undercover, managing to get an interview with the queen of quote-unquote anti-racism, Robin DiAngelo, famous for her book White Fragility, meaning that white people are too fragile and closed off to the fact that they're inherently racist. This guy trolled the crap out of her, got her to get up and get $30 from her wallet and pay his fake black producer the money as reparations. As the clip from his movie Am I Racist broke the internet, she decided to delete her social media from the humiliation. Wild.
Let me know how you feel about this.
In 2004, a couple with children were trying out a new babysitter. About an hour after they left for a night on the town, they realized they had forgotten to give their cell phone number. So one of them called her. After she wrote down the number, the babysitter asked if she could watch satellite TV in their bedroom. She had just put the children to bed and wanted to watch a particular show. The parents didn't want their children watching too much garbage, so the living room TV did not have satellite channels. Well, of course, she could watch the TV in the room, they replied. Excited, the babysitter went to the master bedroom, and once she went inside, something in the room shocked her. It was a massive clown doll sitting on an armchair with a creepy and ominous face. The babysitter tried to ignore the doll and just try to watch the TV. But after just a few minutes, she got this weird, eerie feeling that something was watching her, so she turned towards her left shoulder, and when she did, the clown doll suddenly was staring right at her. Immediately creeped out, the babysitter called the couple and asked if she could put a sheet or a blanket over the clown doll that was in the bedroom, as it kind of made her nervous. The children's father, confused, replied, "What are you talking about? We don't have a clown doll." The babysitter immediately dropped her phone and she slowly turned over her left shoulder again.
Is it even a true story?
Pilot from Yakutia captured something unbelievable. No one believed his words until they watched this video themselves. While flying over a mountainous area, he spotted a strange strip and followed it to find its end. To his shock, it was an infinitely long fence he had never heard of before. Even more mysteriously, on this wall to be continued at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, dividing the Earth into equal parts. Until recently, you could see this wall on Google Maps, but it seems to be disappearing from there. Divers say that at the base in some places there is severe destruction resembling explosions, and the height is uneven. But the scariest part is that ancient machinery-like artifacts lie at the base of these fences. I've published photos, facts, and official explanations that are trying to be removed from the internet on my main channel. Check the link in the profile.
Wait, let me get this straight. A pilot in a jet follow a wall that's under the ocean, so I guess he can't see through the water?
Tourist.
Tourist.
Locations. Macy's, windows outside, original wooden escalators. Toys R Us upstairs. Are you in 34th Street? Hit up New York's best new thing. Koreatown. Right below the Empire State Building. Please go at night. You just feel like you're in a different country. I recommend eating here and then making your way back up to Rockefeller Center. Hop on an N1 bus, look for the big tree, wait for the Saks Fifth Ave lights hit, get on the piano, like the movie Big on FAO Shorts. Radio City has a Christmas show with the Rockettes. Lego store. By the way, this is all in the same area of Rockefeller Center. There's a halal truck. It's about an hour wait. Don't even bother. There's SantaCon, where people from Westchester come and drink all day. And our biggest church is there too, if you want to see that type stuff. And that's all in one location. Also ice skating and Top of the Rock, which I think is the best deck for its location. But Central Park has ice skating too, if you don't want people watching you.
This is a picture of a convicted murderer smiling after he survived lethal injection 18 times in 2009. His name is Romel Broom, and he was sentenced to death for the kidnapping, escort assault, and murder of 14-year-old Trina Middleton in 1984. He was also convicted of 3 previous assaults and attempted murders and was scheduled for execution in Ohio. However, the executioners were not able to insert the lethal injection needle in his veins after 18 attempts. At one point, a needle stabbed his bones. A federal judge pushed the execution back 2 weeks, but Romel's lawyers argued that a second execution attempt was unconstitutional. His lawyers said that his arm hurts and his veins are damaged. They argue that Ohio's lethal injection procedure is flawed and constitutes as cruel and unusual punishment. Romel was scheduled to be executed in June 2020, but his execution was delayed again after Ohio was unable to obtain the chemicals needed for lethal injection. He passed away in prison in December 2020 after he contracted.
Wow, that's crazy.
Look, roller coasters are actually ritual machines built to harvest human energy. Then they're not just for fun, they're energy harvesters designed to tap into your fear and adrenaline. And the metal tracks are constructed with special conductive materials that interact with the human body's bioelectric field. Every time you go through a loop, plummet down a drop, or feel that gut-wrenching twist, you're releasing bursts of intense emotional energy. Fear, excitement, exhilaration, these emotions are highly potent. And the Loomers have figured out how to capture that energy through hidden technology in the coaster's framework. By harvesting this energy, the Loomers can weaken the population, making people more complacent, less creative, and easier to control. Meanwhile, they consume your liquid emotion, getting incredibly powerful. Like the photos they take of you on the ride, That's not just for fun. It's a way to capture your emotional state in a single moment. They study these images, analyzing your expression to make the next round of coasters even more effective at drawing out your energy. This is just a joke for entertainment purposes. Please don't come for me.
Monster Inc. explains it the same way.
when you ring to
叫你换个单，你换什么声控单呐？哦吼，还是个尖叫弦的。你不说节约成本吗？节约成本也不能这样子节约成本呐。哦吼，你马上搞得我不是放错图就是放错图，切个菜把指甲都切了。哦吼，头灯哪都带呀？你见过哪个厨师带着头灯炒菜的？哦吼，你是要死嘛？还带头灯？抠门的我见多了，没见过你这么抠门的。哦，你叫我见过师傅过来把灯换了。啊，哦，你小子这些人家你都保不住，叫你换个灯，你换什么声控灯呐？哦，还是个尖叫弦的。你不说节约成本吗？节约成本也不能这样子节约成本呐。哦，你晚上搞得我不是放错图的。
Oh,
Man.
yeah, he's awesome.
I don't care if this is real or not, it's hilarious. Ahoo! Alright, folks, thank you for staying till the end. Be kind to each other. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And don't forget to like or dislike so I can make a better content. There's a free gift below. And if you want to buy me coffee or support me through Patreon, the links are in the description below. Have a prosperous day and God bless.